Africa is becoming more populous and richer. It has experienced unprecedented and uninterrupted economic growth for the past 3 decades. But if African countries are to become economically successful, their governments will have to implement adequate policies which contribute to the expansion of the private sector, job creation, and an increase in the productivity levels. Corruption must be dealt with in Africa. Unemployment, mainly among the youth, is another challenge facing African leaders. These and many more issues that hinders our growth will be discussed on the Burner and provide the why, how, and what to accelerate the continent's dream of economic freedom. Watch on the Burner every Saturday. It's going to be hot, heated, but focused. Africa's future success will depend on stability, sound policies, and solid institutions. Don't miss this. This afternoon, we're veering off our normal deal, let me put it that way. We'll be looking at other strange areas that perhaps the economists might not have taken into consideration in our quest to seek national development. But for us at BTA, in our quest to ensure that there is development, to at least alleviate the kind of roller coaster ride we have in all facets of our life as Ghanaians in development as a whole, we decided to veer off and look at other tangential issues. Perhaps that might even be the major solutions with the myriad of problems that we face day in, day out, with solutions here and there, the blame game, all, sampled into a kind of cacophony. Nobody knows where to look at. For this afternoon, we have in our presence a senior lecturer of the Department of Psychology in the person of Dr. Kingsley Nyako. He is an expert in educational psychology. For me, that is paramount. Somebody belonging to that fraternity as a teacher. He's also into organizational psychology and social psychology. Very, very relevant in our development. Perhaps we think that some of these courses are not so much directly involved in our upbringing as a people or our national development. BTA is here this afternoon to interact with him to see what their contribution will be or might have been. That is not so much of a reflection of what exists or pertains in our desire to become what Ghana should be by now. Sir, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
It's been a while. Thank you for the time taken off and the opportunity granted us.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Going straight to the point, I know on the Burner, normally, let me just introduce you to on the Burner. It's a free flow, very interactive and very natural environment when it comes to talk. So we say it as it is, no diplomacy attached. Well, there's been a lot of suggestions lately on where to go. Recently, we had the famous Century Forum, amidst its controversy and all criticisms and all that. But well, like the old saying goes, too much meat does not spoil the broth. So we come here this afternoon to find from your department, you representing in your own small way, with the area of expertise, because a lot of panelists have suggested that perhaps our education is not good enough. That is why we are exposed as sometimes inept, especially in the area of national governance. I hear recently, maybe a semester or two past, you introduced a course in the psychology department, which you were in charge of. That is the psychology in national development, and that really is of paramount interest. I wonder how the academia can translate some of these wonderful ideas into a reality. So if we come here this afternoon, we're going to look at the psychological dimension to our development, how important it should be. Sir, recently, we've had a lot of problems with our economy. What is your view?
Yeah, Ghana has had a lot of challenges regarding our economic development. If you look at our history, you discover that our pace of development has not been consistent and also reliable.
Okay.
This is because we have not been able to do the things that we are supposed to do.
All right.
In the 80s, for example, when some of us started, secondary education, in the 90s, we were taught that one of the problems why we are not succeeding as a nation is because we import a lot of capital goods, and we export raw materials, and also what we export is not even much, so we don't get the needed revenue or foreign exchange to help us move forward. So you realize that our budgets and our balance of payments are always in deficit. And the question I used to ask myself is that we have been told the problem. How come we are still in the problem? Does it mean that we're not doing the right thing, or are we doing the right thing in the wrong way? So this brings to the fore, questions that have to be asked in terms of what do we have to do differently in order for us to be able to put Ghana on the right pedestal of progress and success. And you also look at our educational system, and you discover that for me, I describe our school system as discriminatory and also dysfunctional. Because we are in a unitary state, one Ghana, but you discover that there are some individuals or some children who are born into deprived and rural areas through no fault of theirs. But governmental interventions and policies don't address their needs.
It's like they are totally condemned.
For me, I've been saying that if you are born into a rural area or deprived community, it's like an inscription of failure is written on your forehead, because programs are not targeted at them. So they end up becoming failures. 2 weeks ago, I was invited to speak to some students in a certain senior high school in the Western region. And I looked at the environment of the school and the quality of the students. They can't even appreciate the English language.
That is key.
And for me, I think that the fundamental problem is that most of these pupils or students didn't get the opportunity to access preschooling. They didn't get the opportunity to access kindergarten. So then they start class 1 at the age of 6 at a disadvantage. Because at that time, they cannot read and write. And if a child cannot read and write, school becomes disinteresting and boring. And until we are able to face this problem, we are always going to have issues regarding our development. Do you know why I'm saying that? Because when we are born with some innate abilities and capabilities. The IQ, intelligent quotient. So it is possible that child in that rural area, Sankore or Ma 18, where I once taught, that child might have a very superior IQ. But when the environment is not helpful, it means that we are not likely to gain on that child's IQ. So what are we going to do?
You're talking about human resource.
That's very
key
important
for development.
Sure. So how are we going to cash in on the abilities of these children who are in these deprived areas? The attention is on pupils in the cities, which is wrong.
So we'll talk about policies here. Because I believe that at the educational level, as you even said, even the preschool, the policy is to teach children in their local language, that is vernacular. And for me as a person, I'm totally against it, because this is a state that has decided to go, our official language is English, right? And therefore, why don't you start training the kid at the early times to ensure that he has that capacity in terms of reading and writing to go ahead with academic work?
Also make that proposal that we should use the local languages in teaching our children. I always disagree with them. You look at countries that have developed. We can talk about Germany, where I had my master's and PhD degrees. They are trained, they are schooled to their local language.
That is it.
That is the medium of instruction.
That is German.
They write exams in German. So that is how they are brought up. You go to UK, it's English. You
China,
go to the US,
Mandarin.
Their local language. So it is helping them. We have not been privileged because we were colonized, by the English. So we are using their language. What we have to do is that if English is the medium of instruction, the international language in this country, we need to make sure that we develop the language so that it benefits us all.
That is
because we write all examinations in English.
That is true.
So why they focus on local language.
Even though who specialize in the Ghanaian language, they need to pass English before they qualify to go to the tertiary institutions.
That's the point.
Yes, so it doesn't make sense at all.
Sure. I think that we need to, as in relation to our culture, we need to keep our culture. Our language should not be extinct.
Yeah.
For me, I believe that.
Okay.
But then we must also be proactive in ensuring that the English we speak or that we use to develop and train our children is the one that can help them.
That is true.
Okay, so getting very qualified teachers, English teachers, competent English teachers.
Anyway, I'm talking with Dr. Kingsley Nyako. He's a specialist in educational psychology, so he knows what he's talking about. Some of us have made a lot of lay arguments in this direction, and because we are not experts, was thrown overboard. But many of those who came to realize the policies that are being implemented, which have been implemented today, I believe that most of their children are in private schools where English language is key.
Sure, because that's what you need in this country. So, you see, we need to get English teachers who are very good, who understand the language they teach. Some English teachers don't even understand what they teach.
That is true.
You know what I mean? They themselves don't speak good English. So how do you transfer knowledge to a third party?
Yeah.
Okay, so we need to get that one right.
For effective comprehension.
Sure. Okay, so for me, I think that we need to still use the English.
Okay.
And how can we use the English? By making sure that we have competent teachers who teach the English language. That's very crucial. Preschool is very important. You look at our educational reforms. The last one that was done in 2007 had a component for the first time in our history.
Okay.
That we had a component that talks about kindergarten education being compulsory.
Okay.
I mean, that is good, but not enough.
All right.
We need to get to the preschool level. Children between the ages of 3 and 5. We need to expose them to instruction at that time. 3 years, let them start school, let them learn.
All right.
You know, so that by the time they are in class 1, they will be able to speak and write. Okay. That's very important. If the child cannot do that, the child is always disadvantaged.
Frustrated.
Let me tell you something. In 1964, when JFK died, when he was assassinated, you know, the Democratic Party had a leader called Lyndon Johnson. He realized that some parts of the state had minorities who were disadvantaged in terms of academic accomplishment.
All right.
So he introduced a program called the Head Start in 1964. And the essence was to target children who were disadvantaged and those who were at risk of developmental failure. Okay? Starting preschooling.
All right.
Okay, you know, so that they'll be able to match those kids who were privileged to have come from, you know, the middle class families and the upper class families.
All right.
Okay, at least put them at that kind of you know, level. If you didn't do that, then those from the deprived areas are going to be disadvantaged.
Yeah.
Now every year we say that pupils from public schools don't do well.
Yes.
For me, I don't see any empirical, you know, basis for that. We normally use the BEC results to determine that.
Yeah.
But what we fail to appreciate is that these kids, in most cases, don't start on the same wavelength.
That is true.
Some are disadvantaged before they start writing before they go and write the BEC.
Especially in the rural and deprived areas.
That's the point.
Which forms the majority, though.
So that is the reason of the failure.
Yes.
It's not because the kids are not good.
And teachers are not also motivated to even go to the rural and deprived areas. Yes, some don't have 2 teachers to a whole school. Well, you can just imagine.
When I left the training college, I taught in a school called Mark 18 GSS. I went and met a single teacher. I went to that school, so we were two
teachers.
2 years. We were JSS. We were handling 11 subjects between us.
Look at that.
I taught 6, he taught 5.
How can you monitor the children
to be competent,
for it to be effective?
And most of these pupils at that time, JSS 3, 2, 1, couldn't even speak English.
That is true. So how do you instruct them?
You're compelled to use
the local language, which they are not going to write. Demands that
the questions are
use the official language.
So obviously, they are starting from the perspective or from the point of failure. It's not their fault.
Does all these contribute to our slow development?
For me, it's part. I'm not talking from an empirical, perspective
Yeah.
to back what I'm saying.
But observation alone can be quite scientific because it's cast through. What you're saying is a reality. I've taught in the rural areas and I know what I'm talking about too.
What I'm thinking is that it is possible that we might be missing out on the competence and intellectual ability of children who are very smart, but because of their location, because of their family background, they are left out.
Okay.
That's it. Maybe that person who will help us to change course and make progress on our economic front is the person or the people who have been left behind.
That is true.
For me, that is very
crucial.
So until our education system is comprehensive enough to target and attract those pupils to give them a befitting,
social status.
A befitting
educational status.
That is not discriminatory. Then I think we have a long way to go.
I see.
You see, because for me, I'm a middle class person. My kids will go to, they went to preschool. Okay, they will go to private school. But this is the point. My kids might not be academically superior. Or they might not have a superior IQ as compared to
someone
those in the rural areas.
That is true.
That's why I say it is discriminatory.
I see.
So, for me, I think our leaders must take.
It's an issue of policy, right? It's an issue of policy.
That's it.
Yes, if you motivate teachers to go in there and pay special attention. In other countries, I hear even the development starts from the rural areas before it comes to the urban areas. Here, it is always Accra, Kumasi, and then we put all the stock in here, and then we forget about it, and we think that this is Ghana, the capitals or whatever is Ghana. So I think that once the majority are out there, we should.
What prevents our leaders, our governments, from having a policy that targets
specifically
these children who have been left behind? What are they doing about that? Can't they have a program?
It's sympathetic,
whereby these children between 12 and 5 years receive instruction, receive education, maybe once a week to prepare them. To prepare them, for academic success. We leave them behind because they are poor.
Therefore, and human resource has a direct, impact on national development.
Sure. So very crucial. Over the years, my brother, the focus on economic development has been based on the economic models. Okay, so we're talking about gross domestic product, that is GDP. We're talking about gross national product. We're talking about growth rate. But these economic indicators did not necessarily reflect the condition of the people. So this focus is shifting. Okay, so from the economic models, others are talking about human development. That is where psychology comes to play. The human side of development is equally important as the economic side of development.
The course you've been handling, psychology in national development, what does it seek to achieve? Or what impact does it seek?
So as I said, that human development is key. So psychology is also about dealing with human beings, our psyche, and stuff like that. So what we intend achieving through this course is to find out how we can use psychology concepts, the theories and the principles in fostering national development, in making progress as a nation, in terms of our attitude, in terms of our engagement in national discourses, in terms of discipline. How can we affect the human psyche? How can we affect the human being, our way of life, our thinking, so that it can translate into national development? You see, normally we see change and development at the macro level. When you want to bring about change, you can have very fantastic vision, you can have a great idea. You want to establish something, grandiose, something huge. But that's on the macro level. You can never realize that without affecting the micro level.
That is true.
The micro level.
That's the support base.
And that is the human side of it.
Yes.
Okay, how do you change the attitude of that individual to accept that change?
Yeah.
These are things that we normally overlook. Okay, so we are trying to see how can we alter the thinking pattern of the human being to be able to also assist in making progress in terms of our development.
All right.
And for me, it is very crucial. Okay, you know, in Ghana, for example, we don't respect time, always late to work, we are not punctual. These things can be changed.
It's corruption and attitude problem. Corruption.
I think so. Because you see, for me,
Discipline.
Corruption is a demon that is wreaking havoc in societies, especially in Africa. And the reason why it could be said to be an attitudinal problem is that when you talk of attitude, it's about how we evaluate events,
right.
we evaluate, objects, we evaluate people. Okay, so that is something that has some kind of cognitive component. It also has an affective component and behavioral component.
Those are technical words, but you go ahead. We'll have time to explain them.
So you talk about corruption. Somebody engages in a corrupt act. Normally, the outcome of a behavior or a consequence will determine whether that behavior or consequence will happen again or stop.
You're talking about deterrence?
Sure. So, you see, we react to stimuli as a result of its consequence. So, if the consequence is pleasurable, we are more likely to engage in that behavior again.
You use the word pleasurable.
Yeah, if you enjoy something, you want to do it again.
It's like an addiction.
More or less. But if the outcome is not pleasurable, it has some kind of punitive measure, you are not likely to engage in that thing again. So then it comes to interventions that we put in place to curb corrupt acts.
All right.
If I engage in corruption and the reaction is not the consequence is not punitive, then it sends a signal out there, that if you do this, that is going to happen.
All right.
Then your attitude towards that is going to be good.
Okay.
But when the consequence is adverse, you know that you're going to be punished for doing that kind of thing. You have a negative attitude towards that. And this is psychological.
Would you say that in this country we don't have those deterrents? Or, corruption is pleasurable, so people don't want to do their work, misappropriation of funds, sometimes deliberately, causing harm to the state indirectly through actions and inactions, just to pave way to enjoy those pleasures you are alluding to.
We have these statutes and interventions on our books.
Yeah.
But do we enforce them?
Okay.
When we enforce them and corporates are dealt with, one, it will prevent them from doing it again. And your attitude towards it is going to be, negative, because you know that when you engage in that same
it will not be pleasurable.
You are going to be punished. We need to make sure that our laws work. We need to activate them. If you don't do that, and individuals are left off the hook, then our attitude towards this societal canker is always going to be positive, and people are going to enjoy that. Recently in Germany, Bayern Munich, president Uli Hoeneß, he has been with them for a long time. But when he was caught to have evaded tax, he was supposed to pay back around about 80 million euros, as to be corrected, and he's serving prison term.
Jail term, yes.
So then, if you want to do this same thing, you are scared.
That is true.
Because you know the law will deal with you. Your attitude towards any event will be positive or negative, depending on how the outcome is executed.
All right. A lot of people believe that Ghana has the potential to be one of the finest countries in the world. We have some of the finest brains. These same brains who are believed not to be so effective leave our shores, go into foreign countries, and they are excellent.
Yeah.
Do do you think that as a nation, within, we have a psychological problem for which we are not able to execute all the brilliant ideas we seem to have?
Yeah, I don't know whether it's a psychological problem, but what I'm thinking is that our attitude and also the environment within which we live appear to not be working well when it comes to some of the things you are talking about.
All right.
At times you ask yourself why a Ghanaian will travel outside and respect time, but when they come back to their own country, they don't respect time.
Is it leadership?
For me,
because the leader also went through the same school system, the same environment from your psychology perspective.
Going to school,
the environment itself did not bring up good leaders.
Going to school and being educated is not the same.
All right.
Some people go to school, but they're not educated. They're not reformed. You know, they pass through the 4 walls of educational institutions. They come back unreformed.
Interestingly, you remind me of a reggae tune I listened to, which says, people go to college, yet they possess no knowledge.
Yeah, so you see, when we say somebody has received education, the person has been groomed.
Okay.
It's not only about cognitive ability, it's also about the affective ability. It's also, about, psychomotor development.
When you say psychomotor, what does it imply for our audience?
Talking about, development of your motor skills, okay, your physical skills, fine motor skills. We're also talking about the gross motor skills. Education must touch your head.
All right.
That is the cognitive aspect.
Okay.
It must touch your heart. That is the affective aspect.
Beautiful.
It must touch your hands. That's the practical aspect.
Which part of the body does our educational system really touch? Because excuse me, doing politics, for example, I'm into politics, you don't see people doing things with their heart. It's like there's a blind eye to any sensitive issue, nobody cares. It's predatory. Predatory, feeding on the weaklings, stealing the taxpayers' money. Let's use the raw language, thievery. Loot and share, that is a recent, the cliche. You understand? It's like it is about me, and not about us.
Sure. So you see, when in the education system, that focuses so much on the cognitive aspect, the intellectual aspect, and misses out on the other, components, the affective component. We talk about the heart, how you respect and appreciate values.
The sense of nationalism.
That's it. It comes from within.
Yeah.
You see, for example, you train somebody to become a very smart and competent accountant.
Yeah.
Without the affective dimension, okay, having, appreciating societal norms, values, understanding that when you engage in corrupt practices, it's going to affect other people.
Or if it's disgraceful to your family.
Children.
Yeah.
If you leave that one out, if you leave patriotism out, if you leave nationalism out, and you only focus on the intellectual aspect, at the end of the day, there is not complete education. Okay. So we need to look at all these things to make us complete. And that's why you see highly competent and respected individuals in society. They sit on radio, on TV, and they have, the guts to insult people, call people names.
They do not watch their words. When they have little children at home and what, they have a family.
If you are well educated, you won't do that. You won't insult people. You won't call their names. You won't do that. You try to, understand that you are living in society where, as an adult, you are seen as a role model, that children are looking at you and imitating you. They see you as a role model.
Yeah.
Some of your colleagues can themselves be role model, they could be looking up to you.
Okay.
You see, so for me, we have to be very careful. These are very crucial, issues we need to address. Development is not like mushroom that grow overnight. we need to also look at people's psyche.
All right.
Okay, we need to also look at individuals and their background.
Okay.
They are very important. Okay, how do you promote diversity, for example? How do you respect people's views? How do you give room to people with dissenting and opposing views?
All right.
In this country, for example, when a key political figure from a different political party maybe is giving a speech or saying something, there are some other elements who wouldn't listen because they are parochial. They think that because you are on this block, whatever you say, I don't care about that. It is wrong. We must tolerate each other, respect each other's views. Because you know something, somebody once said that if we all think alike, then it means somebody is not thinking. It's not possible we all think alike. It's not possible we all belong to the same religious, group. It's not possible we all belong to the same church. It's not possible we all belong to the same political party.
Beautiful.
For you to understand that is something psychological.
All right.
Individual differences. We are different. We are different in terms of where we are coming from. We are different in terms of our culture, from our tribe. We are different in terms of even our abilities. Okay? So for there to be even peace in a country, there should be this kind of political tolerance.
Important, key.
Very important.
And that has got a direct relationship with the kind of education you had.
That's it.
Our attitudes in general.
You see, when somebody insults you, if you are emotionally mature, you wouldn't insult back. Do you know why?
No.
Because the normal human being will always want to react.
All right.
So you insult me, I will insult back. You insult me, I insult back. Nobody wins. But if you insult me, I don't insult back. Doesn't mean that I'm weak. But I'll be able to earn some kind of respect from you.
All right.
Okay, so for me, we need to be very careful when it comes to the pillars that we are using to measure development. In this country, for example, we have economic issues going on. Normally, people like you in the media, they'll call the economists, they'll call the political scientists, asking them their views about what is going on. Secondly, do they even seek the views of psychologists and sociologists?
That is why we're here. BTA knows what is right.
but it is very important to understand the psyche of the people.
That is paramount. I think so.
When there are economic difficulties, the spillover of these difficulties could result in psychological problems.
That is true.
And psychological problems can also affect, the nature of the economy.
That is true.
You go and read world history. The Great Depression in the 1930s brought about several psychological problems, depression, stress, and what have you. People committed suicide as a result of that. So we cannot come out with any policy without looking at the psychological angle. It's very important.
The impact.
Because it's about the human being.
All right.
It's about the way they think. It's about the way they behave. Their relationship to society is very important.
My problem is academia. All the research papers are on the shelves. What do you do to push? In fact, in our quest to just come have a chat with psychologists, there was an issue. What has psychology got to do with the economy? You understand? Yes. But I mean, you should expect it out there from the analysis you just made. It had to take an extra step to sound convincing that psychology has got to do with what is happening, because there's the use of common sense here, and there's nothing like common sense. If sense was so common, our problems would have been solved. Misplaced priorities by our political elite. I mean, all kinds of trauma. Let me put it that way. You understand? And people think it's so simple to handle. So it's purely psychological. That is what we think as lay people.
Common sense does not solve our problems. Common sense wouldn't solve our economic problems. It is empirical research.
Okay. What do you mean by empirical research?
You need data.
All right.
You need data to inform your thinking.
All right.
Countries that have developed, they didn't allow people's opinions and common sense to direct their way of thinking.
All right.
Common sense is a form of acquiring knowledge. It is not scientific.
Okay.
The scientific method is the right way to go. You do research, you collect data. Based on the data, you come out with, results, findings, recommendations, and conclusions. That's what, moves the world. It's not religious explanations. Most of us try to.
Oh, we have pastors praying for the economy.
I won't say I won't believe in that, but I don't think it's the right way to go. I cannot question anybody's faith. I'm a Christian myself.
Praying a lot doesn't matter. You see the Black Stars praying seriously. It doesn't reflect in their play.
It's not going to work. You see, to succeed in life as an individual, as a nation, it's diligent. It's hard work.
All right.
It is how you allow science to inform your thinking.
All right.
I use religion as a coping mechanism. You need religion. Every human being, you have a soul. You have a soul, a spirit within you. For me, what is important is that whatever you are doing, you should be able to measure.
All right.
If you cannot measure what you are doing, you cannot make progress. If you tell me that prayer helps you to achieve A, B, C, where is the evidence? How do you measure that? But if you can prove to everybody that you're able to achieve A, B, C because you work hard, you can measure that. You can measure 2 time points.
Well, the Bible also says it. God helps those who help themselves. So if you don't work hard...
It's not in the Bible. Because I've checked everywhere.
But I stand to be corrected.
I've checked everywhere. I'm not funny.
All right.
Maybe it is based on some kind of
all right.
knowledge.
Okay.
But you see, it's hard work.
All right.
If we can succeed, it's about hard work.
All right.
You see, we need to work hard. We need to put our shoulders to the plow. We need to allow research to inform our thinking.
Right.
You made mention of the fact that we have researches on ourselves.
Yeah.
You see, my brother, a lot of people blame academia unjustifiably. When I do research, I expect society to consume my research. I don't consume my own research.
All right.
The research is meant for societal consumption. How many people consciously decide to consume research? When you do research, you have basic research, applied research. When I do research to acquire knowledge, to accumulate knowledge is basic. But this basic knowledge must be applied. So applied to solve problems. Government officials must read. If you have a country where even government officials try to attribute issues by looking at religious variables, there's a problem. Recently,
it's a very important statement.
When we had this market price and whatever, I personally heard government officials cursing people who were involved. They had their own conclusion. They perceive or they thought that maybe our saboteurs are doing that. People who are anti-government are doing that without empirical basis, my brother. When we brought those experts from the US, I'm sure the outcome, the conclusion or the finding was that it was due to some defective. This is how we can move as a society. You need to measure and identify a cause of behavior.
That is true.
You don't do that. Let me give a typical example. You have 2 people, selling wares somewhere. You own 2 different shops, but they are selling the same items. Assuming you and myself. All of a sudden, you are making progress. I'm going down. The typical Ghanaian will try to ascribe some kind of
superstition.
That's it. The person is going to say the Juma, but that person wouldn't check. Maybe.
In effect, culturally, we are bankrupt.
The fault is yours.
Culturally,
maybe it's your human relationship.
That is true.
Maybe
your environment.
It's your timeliness.
Yes.
If I come to buy something from you,
your human relations.
That's it. I come there at 8 a.m. You're not there. You come to work when you want. I come there at 8. You come at 10. You do things tomorrow. I'll come there.
Even accessibility.
I'll go to a different person.
Yeah.
We don't check all these things and we blame God for no apparent reason. I thought it's our problem. When you go, take your Bible and read Genesis 1:26. The Bible says there that God has given us dominion over the fowls of the air and the fishes in the sea.
Yeah.
What does that tell us? We have the power to change and control our environment. God will not do nothing for us.
Our destiny is in our own hands.
That's what Skinner said, that we are the architects of our own destiny.
Yes.
You decide your destiny. I decided. If God helps me, fine.
Are we independent-minded as a people? Or we are confused from psychology?
I don't have any evidence to support that. But what I have observed, in our environment is that we try to engage more of external attributions than internal attributions.
Right.
We try to blame society for our woes, the environment for our woes. We don't want to accept responsibility. Okay, so for me, if you engage in internal attribution where you attribute your failures and your successes to yourself, it is better than when you think that somebody else controls your destiny. And that's what we do in most cases. Somebody is failing, is a devil somewhere. Someone is losing something, it's a weight somewhere. It's my mother here, it's my father. We don't accept responsibility. The moment you fail to accept responsibility, you have become failure. We determine and we must chart our own courses. Ghana can make progress when we begin to realize that it is Ghanaians who can make Ghana.
Can psychology really help us find our way around economically?
Oh, sure.
In brief.
Sure. Why not? For me, I think that we need to start the reorientation from the base.
All right.
From preschool level.
Okay.
Training our children. Okay. To imbibe some values.
All right.
Discipline, attitude, punctuality. These are very important attributes that define success. You can have the biggest economy in the world, the richest economy in the world, but when your employees are not punctual, when their attitude towards work is negative, when they are indisciplined, when they are always late to work, that huge economy will crumble.
You talked about the basics. We have the elite who may not have what your expectations are in terms of the frame of mind to even govern. Because, like many have said, the problem of Ghana is leadership crisis. And read my lips again, leadership crisis. Yeah. How can we approach those at the top to also sort of fine-tune them a little, if not to the perfect
even to
level?
Get the onus rests on us. We also have the power to determine who goes to the top.
Determinant. If you are not well educated, how do you even determine or recognize the true leader?
That's a good question. If you're not well educated, right? That's why some political actors too rely on that to deceive people. Okay, they come to you and they try to lie to you or give you half truths. So I say you should go to the base. If you go to the base and people get the right education, things are going to change.
Can it be deliberate? I'm sure my audience are there that the political elite of today, or for that matter, Africa, are not willing to share the truth at the basic level because they will always want to be there. Because if they are enlightened, then their pleasures they will be deprived of.
I think in anybody who wants to seek political office, there are two groups of people. There are some who want to go and change things. There are some who are going there for their own personal gains. Okay. I think there are some there who have genuine intention, they want to change things. Others there are there because of their own personal desires.
Can we create a system to expose those who...
For me,
are not in the interest of the nation?
The power resides with the people.
Okay.
The people can decide to get the best people to govern them. You might not be educated, but when the economy is crumbling,
I'm affected directly.
When you cannot afford basic goods and services, you feel it.
Dr. Kingsley Nyako.
So for me, my brother, for me,
I think that there should be a regular dose of psychology. That is what, because I can go on and on and on. A very interesting discussion with you. Looking into the camera briefly, what can you tell our leaders of today? Where should they look up to turn the misfortunes around?
So if you are privileged to be a leader of this country, whether you are president or a minister, one question that you should be asking yourself is that after your demise, 10 years after your demise, 20 years after your demise, how would you want to see Ghana? If you are in your grave and assuming you open your eyes in the grave, would you want to see Ghana the way it is or a better place? That is a food for thought. We must all sacrifice for this country. We must love this country. We must be patriots, fighting for this country. Because see, Ghanaians must build Ghana. Americans build America.
The Chinese,
Germans build.
the Indians are building.
Germans.
The Koreans are building.
We must build
Our
we
nation.
must build our country and not our pockets.
That is true.
Not our pockets.
Thank you very much. I've been speaking to Dr. Kingsley Nyako. He's an educational psychologist, organizational psychologist, social psychologist, and he lectures a course in his department which is known as Psychology in National Development. Very key. I hope this is not the end of our interaction with the experts in academia. He made a statement which for me is key. He says he cannot research and consume in his own research. The research has got to be consumed, and that is why we at BTA, thinking about you out there, we are here to consume what they have on their shelves. We'll continue to do this. Make same time with us every Saturday between the hours of 3 and 5 on the Burner. Hot, always simmering. My name is Ek Shalom. Bye-bye.